Welcome back to the PPM Winter Circle podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. To my right is Mr. Rodney.
Hello, folks.
And the PPM Winter Circle podcast shirt that you can get yourself is Mr. Rand.
Hello.
Next to him on the left is the one and only Cat in the Hat, Mr. Ricky.
Yes. I was thinking maybe we could get Randy to model the shirt.
Maybe so.
Look at her.
You didn't even give me an opportunity to say hello.
Who are you?
Hello, everybody.
And as y'all can tell, we got a guest with us. And who are you?
Ricky Weiss.
That's it. If you don't know, you do now.
It's Weiss, right?
Is it
Not Weiss?
Correct.
Weiss.
Yes.
Weiss.
I've been called worse things, so.
Yeah.
So to start off on the podcast, Mr. Ricky, how did you get involved and started in racing?
My dad's been racing, almost his whole life and been a part of motorsports some way, whether it was owning people's cars, motors, speedways, just grew up around it and slowly progressed to now, today.
What you're looking at again?
Family.
Everybody we've interviewed in this, we asked them the question, how you got to, well, Dad had this old car, and
Yeah.
it's always just a family thing that everybody goes into, which is great, I think.
Family tradition.
Yep.
Now, you want to give us that geography lesson again of where you're from?
Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's straight north of Grand Forks, North Dakota, and about 3 hours from there. So.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just
cold there.
curious because I have never been there. Does Canada have dirt tracks?
Yep, my dad actually owned, my mom and dad, they owned, it's called Victory Lane Speedway now. At the time, it was Red River Co-op Speedway. And there's a track in Morden, Manitoba, and Estevan, Saskatchewan. So not many of them, but that's probably why we ventured out this way to get a little more racing in. But there is tracks up that way, so.
Now, racing in Canada, how I know it's limited to the amount of weeks you can get in a year.
Yeah.
The guys in Minnesota said maybe 3 months if you're lucky.
Yeah,
What they tell you.
it definitely depends. Like right now, they just had a snowstorm the other day, and typically in the next month, the water usually ends up heading north, and then they kind of flood for a little bit. And we always kind of had our fingers crossed and did what we could to not fill the racetrack full of water, because once you do that, our dirt up there is all black gumbo, and it's like a sponge. So if it soaks up that water, you're out there sheep's footing for a month. And that was the biggest challenge. If you could keep the water off the racetrack and have a good steady melt with the snow, then it started a little earlier. Otherwise, it kind of makes for a late spring for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's like a whole different world.
So what did you start off racing in?
My dad actually ended up going to the States, and I can't remember the track's name right now, but he ended up buying asphalt super trucks when they closed this racetrack down and converted them to dirt. And he did that for many years, and then he bumped up to the next class. And my brother and I raced super trucks when we first started. So
That's a way to get started right there. Heck, go.
Yeah.
So, if y'all don't know, Ricky owns and started Sniper Chassis. What made you want to start your own chassis business?
we were over at Scott's working, building cars over there, and just wasn't able to race and be confident with if we wrecked a car, you just turn around, go build a new one, buy one, whatever. So it was really hard building cars at a Scott's shop, like getting them in and out, and so it kind of put a toll on our racing. You necessarily don't go tear the wall down because you may have to rebuild that car this week. So we just kind of thought of that and thought of, what's our next step, and slowly kind of ventured away from Scott's there and figured, if I'm building cars there, maybe it's something I could do on my own, and had a couple different ideas that we kind of ventured away from his stuff and put it into our stuff, and it took a few years, slowly progressed, and we just got better and better and better.
So, do you sell your cars to the public?
Yep, absolutely. We're not looking to mass produce anything. We're doing about probably 10 cars a year. So Bruce has over at Bruce Built, him and Reed. They do just the bare frames and all the bolt-on bumpers, and then we take them and assemble them and turn them into a race car.
Not too bad. So, with you racing, obviously one of your own cars, how does the effect of driving that car help you with your customer service whenever they call needing help?
It's big, I think. Our group of guys is real small and limited, and that's what we wanted to keep it to. We want to be able to service them with all the parts they need, and like you say, they call, and they're not just getting the chassis standpoint or setup wise. They're actually, I'm able to feel what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I think that's big. The more we grow, the easier it'll be for me, because not everybody's the same. All drivers are a little bit different, and being able to hear what they had to say and what they changed might be a little different than something I would do. I recommend, what I did, and most of the time it's pretty close, but in some situations it's not the same for everybody. So, but I know like a couple of customers this year did a couple different things than I would do, and it worked out. And then we try it down the road, and it's something that we build off of. So I just know the more guys we get joining our team, the better we're all going to get. So.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Positive like feedback and
Correct.
all that. Yeah.
So as far as the business side, I got a question for you. What have you found to be the hardest thing about the chassis building business?
Probably finding help.
Mm-hmm.
Finding good, consistent, steady help that, like I said, we got a good group of guys, but there's a lot of people seem to think the grass is greener on the other side, and they venture out and try it, and some come back, some don't. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. I mean, you hear that in it's not just racing, it's everything.
Yeah, it's at the bake shop.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's hard to find good help.
It is.
Definitely is.
Definitely is. Yeah.
You heard it here.
So your racing deal, you're building cars, your races. Are you running a outlaw schedule? You gonna follow our series, or what are you thinking there?
Well, we were gonna pick and choose and pick up our crate car a little bit and run with that, and ended up getting a pretty big win at the start of the year at I-75, and that ended us making us lead the hunt the front in points. And we said, well, I guess our plans are changing, and we'll follow that, until it doesn't make sense anymore. But there's a lot of tracks that some I've been to that I don't like, and some I've never been to. But one was last weekend at Why Not, and didn't start too good, but ended off pretty good. So if we can keep that rolling, then we'll just do the best we can.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to Talladega
Yep.
this weekend?
But luckily they got practice, so that helps out a lot.
Yeah.
A guy that's never been there, you can actually.
You've never been there before?
Never been there. No. Considering
you
I didn't realize it was so close to here. But
You got any advice?
Biggest thing I would say is patience,
Yeah.
especially when it goes slicking
I was
out,
fixing to say-
which he's good at that.
yeah. With the slicker, slow stuff, like, I mean, Why Not kind of got really slippery, real bottom dominant, and if you could just kind of not run over the guy in front of you and just stay in the bottom. I mean, I pretty much followed Jimmy all the way up through there, and he's very patient as
Yeah.
well. So,
Okay. How old are you now?
I'm old.
You're not near as old as I am. The reason I asked,
Look at him with his glasses on his forehead. Professor.
you're the 20.
Look at that while he's taking them off, man. It made you look smart.
You're the 20. See how they do me. You're the 2019 World Outlaw Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
You've done your research, ain't you? Well, I know things. Yeah, no, I'm the professor, remember?
Yeah.
4 or 5 years from that, what would you go back and tell that young man in 19?
Do what you can while you're young. If you get the opportunity, never look back, and just give it your all, and I mean, if it's not something you want to do the following year, there's always time for change, and yeah, if you get
Go for it, huh?
In that amount of time, how has Ricky grown as a driver?
that patience word kind of comes to mind. I'm, you know, 10, 15 years ago, we were just talking about this with Travis. I said I used to go Friday night and tear the deck out of it every night. I mean, now I think I get a bloody nose if I go up there. So, and that might be the, you know, running with Scott stuff for a while. You never seen him get up there, and I know Scott always used to say, you're never going to win a 100-lap race by tearing the fence down every lap.
Right.
But then you got Bobby proving that wrong. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just not my style to do that. And but I mean, we own our own stuff, and that might be a little bit why I'm more patient, more not really throwing slide jobs here and there, and the tracks like Why Not proved, you know, the longer it got, I wish that was a 7,500 lap race, because they were starting to drop like rocks at the end there, and you know, once you slide your tires a couple times, they seal up, and that last race start was mayhem, but just kind of did what we could, and all of a sudden went from 12th to 6th in 3 laps.
You mentioned Scott. What's the biggest influence that when you think about Scott that he had? Maybe he shared with you or something.
Scott shared a lot. I mean, a lot of my career is probably due to him. He was a very, very good teacher. He was, you know, good to, he could kind of see the work ethic, and you could tell he wanted to be in the shop. He wanted to, you know, he could see what we were doing and our passion. And I think he had mentioned it a few times, you know, he's seen himself in me and our team and how much we wanted it. And he taught me a lot, that's for sure.
He greatly appreciated the work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he didn't like yes men. He didn't want to teach you, and he could tell if you weren't understanding, and he asked you that question and you couldn't answer it. He didn't like that. So he wanted to know. He wanted it to sink in, and like I say, I credit a lot of my knowledge to him and what he taught me.
He appreciated you have a different opinion too, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He
You learn from that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Goes back to a few podcasts ago. I was talking about those that come through, like at the PRI show, different ones that we can name that are at the top level, like Scott was. They come through and they ask different questions in a different way, and want to know what your thought is on it. And like you said, if you didn't know your stuff,
Yeah. The first time I remember calling him, and he said, "You got a notepad?" I says, "Absolutely." He says, "Good, because you ask a question once, that's fine. You ask it again, I'm going to frown upon it. You ask it a third time, I'm hanging up." So, and I get it. I mean, he had a lot of people that probably asked the same question weekly to him, and I could see where it would get frustrating if they're not catching on, or they're not learning, and basically wasting his time. So
I can tell you what that is. He saw a lack of focus
yeah,
and work ethic.
yeah.
Yeah, his time was valuable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So speaking of Scott, and you even mentioned Bobby, and you know, at your level of even now going to the Hunt the Front series, you know, who is some of the guys that that you enjoy racing with, that you don't care to be side by side with?
And the Hunt the Front, Corey's been really good. He's hard, he's aggressive, but he's not one that's going to go, you know, tear the nose off it or slide over your air cleaner. And he's really respectable that way. The joiners are same way. You can run door to door, line up next to them, not have to worry if they're faster. They're going to get around you without taking your left door off. And you know, there's a lot of people. Jimmy Owens is very respectable, and but then there's a lot that aren't. So just kind of.
You don't have to list it.
Come on, give us a name. Give us a name. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I mean, you just keep that in your back of your mind and try to race them the way they're going to race you.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Earlier you said you followed Jimmy up through there. I guess gain respect there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, if you looked at their cars at the end of the night, my left door was crinkled up, which that's part of it. But I don't. Other than that, I mean, mine and Jimmy's cars didn't have a mark on it.
Right.
You know, and we both were at the tail and bought our time and slowly went up through there.
So, you've been to a lot of races with different series and everything. What is one of, if not maybe three of your favorite tracks that you've been to?
Bristol I really enjoyed that.
I guess you did.
The speed, the control, you had to keep your car straight.
Flying up there.
Eldora that's always going to be one of my favorites for sure. We've struggled the last year or two there, but I feel we got a really good car now that we can probably compete there. Other than them, Knoxville was one I really enjoyed. I like the higher speeds, the longer races. So
Yeah.
He needs to be up in the Northeast, right?
yeah,
He named some good places there, didn't he?
So, along with those trips that you've been to these places, what is one of the most memorable moments that you have?
I mean, winning the North-South 100 was huge. We were just a little peon, and we wanted to step out and run more super stuff, and we just weren't sure we were ready. And that was kind of the year that we were dabbling in and out and seeing if we were ready. And that was kind of the check mark. Okay, now's our turn. Now's our time to kind of venture out and give it our shot. I mean, you can always veer different ways if it don't work, but after that's when we kind of talked to the Outlaws and decided we were going to run for Rookie of the Year after that.
You enjoy your time with the Outlaws?
It was grueling. It was good. The first year, going to all those new tracks and running the series, and we had some pretty good success, but the next year we struggled a little bit, and their schedule is so demanding that we didn't have the type of help to keep up with it. Like when we were struggling, you almost need to go back to the shop, work on your stuff, see if you can find something wrong, and then go test for a week. And you just didn't have that, so
You end up on that hamster wheel.
yeah, and you know,
That's
you
all
were
you can
just
do to get there.
all you could do was get the tires put back on it, and go to the next track and struggle at that one. And it plays a toll on everybody. It plays a toll on the crew. It plays a toll on the driver, on everything. And to me, that's not fun. I'm too competitive to be a field filler, and it just didn't make sense to continue running a series. And I know they've upped the pay and everything, and they've made it more intriguing to want to follow that, and that's why you're seeing more guys venture that way. But until you get good, consistent help for a couple of years that they can kind of take over a little bit, then we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like Randy had said, back in 2019, you were the Rookie of the Year. From that point until now, especially with your knowledge and you getting better and traveling more since then and everything, how has the level of competition changed?
The levels definitely changed. When I was first dabbling into the World of Outlaws and stuff, you still had to work for your speed, and you had to, go testing, find speed, and just work countless hours. And it seems like now you can buy it. I'm not saying it's all bought. You still have to have talent behind the wheel, and you still have to have a good knowledge behind it. But a lot of guys can go, let's say, to Longhorn or Rocket, and write a check and have them in their back pocket, and they may unload and be quick time. As the tracks obviously slick off, and then the driver comes out and has to be shown a little more, they may fall back. But that qualifying position, putting you up front, is big, and I just see a lot of speed being bought these days.
That's a fact.
But you come across to me, I'm going to say this, come across to me the guy that'd rather be on the island doing your own thing has to be led around by everybody else.
Well, that's probably because I've been around Scott for a long time.
Yeah. You think for yourself.
Yep.
And I admire
Absolutely.
that. I admire that. There's not many, you talk to so many people that are, well, they said do this. Well, let me call so-and-so and see what he says. And you're like,
Yeah.
they'll call wanting springs. Or maybe I don't go, it don't matter if I say this, do it. They'll call wanting springs or come want springs for their car and have to call somebody. And you're like, they said we'll do this, do that. I said, but what do you need?
Yeah.
So you seem like a guy that thinks for himself. That's
Got to watch your own bobber.
yeah, that's something I admire. You're not just led around, like a sheep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta watch your own bobber.
I like
I've never
that.
heard that before.
Gotta watch your own bobber.
Yeah.
A shirt idea. Watch your own bobber. No, that won't work. We're always looking for T-shirt ideas.
Double dip there, racing and in fishing. You'd be surprised how many people would wear that for fishing.
Gotta
There
watch
you
your own bobber. Well, that's pretty good. It's like Randall, last one said, accept the challenge,
Yeah,
which is true.
true.
You have to accept the challenge. So
Ricky, I know you said that you have the Hunt the Front coming up this year, but other than chasing that series, is there any other big things or stuff you're wanting to accomplish this year?
We got to get back running good at Eldora. That's a must. We always try to go there every chance we can get, and we have yet to blow the dust off the crate car. There's been a lot of big paying shows, and we've been kind of focusing on that last year. And our crate car is really good. And every time we unload it, we're in the hunt. So if it don't overlap, the Hunt the Front series overlaps a lot of the crate races, which that's racing. There's so much racing nowadays. You just gotta kind of pick and choose. And but if Hunt the Front or Eldora's not on, and there's a 10 grand crate race somewhere, we'll probably be at it. Other than that, then we're just kind of staying within the 6 hour range and picking good tracks and big money events.
Do you have something, Ray?
you drink of water, buddy.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Ricky. If one thing in dirt late model racing that you'd like to see change, he's laughing, but I mean it's just your opinion. I mean,
No, 'cause there's no word telling where this could go.
Well, I'm not a fan of the 2, 3, 4 tire rule. I've always been a fan of the crate 21s, 55s. I don't think you can beat them down here in the south. Up north, the 20s, 40s were, in my opinion, the great rule. You don't need a 30. And I think you've seen a lot of racing because people would, gamble with what we call a soft tire, which would be a 20, and somebody put a 40 on. Well, 10 to go. Here they come.
Yeah.
And I think the tire rules definitely got out of hand. I know they're kind of vamping to 3, 4 right rear instead of 2s, but the 2s just don't seem the same as the 20s. And I know I've talked to Hoosier about that, and so has all the other drivers. And but at the end of the day, we're all on the same tire. So we've had to go to work, and it's made us work a lot harder and probably taught us a lot of things along the ways. And we've got our car better for that tire situation. But in my opinion, I think if we just brought it down to something a little more simple, it would be better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It'd be better for everybody, right?
It would. I mean, we've been to some racetracks even this year already. We're just putting soft tires on because I don't think the rubber is the right call for that racetrack. and they're just not wearing, which is good for the checkbook because at the end of the day, your tire ain't worn. So that's one thing. But I think racing would be better if we had the right tire for that surface. I think you'd be able to go in out of the groove kind of thing. You wouldn't see as much train racing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, at the end of the day, we're all on the same tire, so you got to make work what others can't.
Yeah, you got to make lemonade, right?
So
Yeah.
what are you saying? You're saying the 2, 3, and 4 all need to be a little softer, or
In the South, I think we should be on, like, I love the 1350s, 1600 rule. They've obviously went away from that, so the next closest thing is a 2155. I think in the South, that's probably the best tire rule around here.
right?
And then up north, that don't work. So the 20s worked. So I guess the next closest thing to that is a 2 and a 4.
But you know what a 20 is. Oh yeah.
You're gonna get in trouble.
I feel the heat already.
You're gonna get in trouble.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Well, that wasn't too controversial. See, you.
No, but he's mentioning the wrong numbers.
Oh,
It is what it is at this point. Whatever.
whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble.
It's all right. Sometimes there's two sides of the pie if you catch my drift.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't want to know.
we're talking
One
about
side could be red, the other could be purple.
yes.
I can take a spoonful of both. Just ain't chose to yet.
That's a whole nother subject.
Yep.
That's a whole nother show.
Y'all can
Yeah.
get me lit up on that one.
That's a whole nother show. Devin's shaking his head. That's a whole nother show.
Devin's like, I gotta edit that out now.
No, you don't either.
The politics of racing, the politics of tires. I mean, let's go ahead and say it exists.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
I didn't know how bad until this past year.
well, I mean, it's like Washington D.C., man. Everybody's lobbying and
I really think a bad part is having our tire wars. I mean, I know for a fact I was sitting at the shop. Our races rained out, and crate car was ready to go, and we couldn't go 5 miles to the house because they were running on racers. And we've been loyal to Hoosier, and I mean, but I guess American Racers threw some money at the points fund, and they just limited you to one brand, and I don't see that being right, and I think it's hurting. It sucks for the fans because some guys don't go. I know Richmond rained out last year, and we drove by a couple of racetracks on the way back to the shop. Same deal. They forced you to run racers, and we just didn't go.
Think about it. It's a war, but it's working. Both sides are doing it.
Yeah.
And then the racers and the fans end up losing out. You know.
Well, and I mean, just give the racer an option. I mean, if a racer's cheaper to put on and it's better, then go do it. But don't force me to do it. I mean, we're pretty loyal to our names on the car, and I just don't see myself venturing and trying this one because it's a little bit better versus that one. Let's just kind of marry one and work with them, make it better.
I'll tell you a story about a buddy I had years ago. He's from Rockwood. Actually bought this building from me, and him and his dad had purchased Crossville. And if he was still alive, Crossville would be awesome. But I talked to him every day. He was real excited about, he owned the gas station down here in town. They owned half of Rockwood, but anyway, he said he was going back the Pepsi and Coke. They was battling out who's going to sell Pepsi or Coke at the racetrack. Pepsi or Coke. Pepsi. He said, come back to me. He says, well, I got Pepsi. And I signed in. And I said, well, that's good. That's good. His name was Ras. That's good, Ras. Good, Ray. I went over to my desk, flipped up my checkbook. I said, how much? What do you mean, man? I said, he's a big old fella. He said, what do you mean? I said, exclusive PPM racing products.
Yeah.
And he went, well, you can't do that. I said, you just did.
Yeah.
I said, you can't run on your track unless they've got PPM products on the car. How much? But that's what, and it's always been that way,
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, "Oh, shut up, man."
You just giving him a hard time, but
I was giving him a hard time, but I made him a point too.
Right.
But yeah, if he had that, he still had that track. Been an awesome place because he had so much. He was passionate about it. He loved racing, and dude, he was all in, man. He'd call every day with another idea. What would you do here? What would you do there? I told him, I said, one day, I said, listen, what I would do, I would have a $5 night. Everybody that comes to the gate, if the grandstands get him $5. Well, he passed away. He had a heart attack and passed away. And his dad still had the track. And he had a $5 night out there. Packed that place out.
Absolutely.
So, that's, my little story.
You're about, what, 5 miles from there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And haven't
Just
raced
right
there
on
in
that pasture.
probably 7 years.
Yeah.
That was my first win down here in the south. Was Crossville, and then now we live there.
How old are you?
Was that a
36.
Southern National race?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Past.
I used to go
over
in there
10.
when I was underage in the pits. Me and Randy Rodney was our dad's pit crew.
Mm-hmm. Dude, they'd race on Friday nights.
That's when it was NASCAR and they was
NASCAR
serious
sanction.
about it.
It was awesome. Memories.
Yeah.
It was awesome, man. They come from Middle Tennessee. They come from Kentucky, North Georgia, everywhere to race in that deal. I mean, it was awesome.
If you like fast racetracks, just be ready to go to Golden Mountain.
Yeah.
I was out there Friday night. I forgot how quick it actually was.
Yeah. For sure.
If your car's right, you just
Yeah.
go.
Like
It-
on
you
a
got
go
qualified,
kart.
Yeah.
Like on a go kart.
Yeah.
Over at go kart at Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
But you're down here. Have you got any other family down here with you? Or
No, my mom and dad are back at home. I got a brother back in Canada as well, but they just bought a little motorhome, so they're itching to get in it and come down here and hang out. So
they've not been traveling much with you around? Or
yeah, they do. They usually come down every other month, and
Yeah.
my mom was staying back at home with my grandma being sick there, but now she's ready to get out and venture a little, use the motorhomes a little bit, and
Right.
come see us. So
Well, that proves right there to me that you want it, because you moved down here by yourself and go to working for something like that. You want it.
yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, like I said, we were very fortunate to be able to. We just lived at Scott's out of the hauler for a little while, and went from there. We went and lived at Bull's Gap for a couple of years, and then slowly ventured this way, and now we got a shop and home of our own.
That's
Pretty good location for traveling, ain't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was looking, obviously, in the Bulls Gap area, and couldn't find anything, and then I found one, and it sold instantly, and I was kind of kicking myself on that one a little bit, and Mom said, well, maybe you just need to widen the area a little bit, and I never really got that far, and she started looking, and she found this place here in Monterey, and ended up buying it that week, and been working on it ever since. So
Good deal.
Now, how many guys you got working for you now? You said just you and one other?
me and one other full-time guy, and then Travis he's got a job up in Canada. They works 3 on and gets 3 off, so he comes down every 3 weeks, and so he pretty much works 24/7, because poor guy's got to go work in the mine for 3 weeks, 7 days a week, and then his time off he comes up here and we work about
He works-
7 days a week.
Did he say works in a mine?
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
What's he mining?
This time I think it's gold, but I told him just to slip a couple in his back pocket, but he says there's no way he can do that. Sometimes it's different all the time depending on where he's working at, and I know he's starting a new job this week. The last one shut down for servicing, and so I don't know. I'll have to ask him what he's mining for this time.
So, how would the people want to get in touch with you if they wanted a sniper chassis? Do you have a Facebook page, a website? Or?
We got all that. We got Facebook pages. We got website. my cell phone's on my website, everything. There's through Bruce, you name it. I mean, it's not hard to find us. If you want to find us, you just go on our website page and text me, call me, email me, whatever. We usually check that stuff daily, so we get back to them pretty quick.
Yeah. Is it sniperchassis.com?
It's wiseracing7.com.
Oh, well, there you go.
Weiss Racing 7, the number 7.
Well, we always ask this question. Why
Hey,
number 7?
Hey, man. Nice talking.
Well, I stole that one from my dad. He was number 7, and his reason was, well, if he ever flips over, it's L for loser.
That's pretty good. Now you're a lucky number 7. You're a loser.
Yeah.
Loser.
You okay over there?
No, I just think it's funny. I got Zachary's always buddies.
Yeah.
My son, he's 16, plays basketball and stuff, and his buddies will be on the floor. They'll be playing a game, and they'll look up at me, to wave. And besides waving, I'm saying hello, I'll go. And it just blows their mind. You could see it. They're out there acting real big, and I'll go.
Yeah.
7 to loser. Pretty good. Lucky number 7. Yeah. I'll hush, man.
Except I don't know if he's flipped over. I've rolled a few times, but I don't think he never did. So
You ever caught on fire?
no,
I think that's the big fear.
that would probably.
Yeah.
But I know when I rolled over, I was out quicker than. I don't even know if I quit rolling yet, and I was getting out. It happened so.
Oh, I
quick.
thought you got knocked out. I was like, wow.
Oh no, I was out of the car quick.
You're just getting away from that
You,
thing.
you can get out a lot quicker than I could.
Yeah, that'd be a fear of mine if I got stuck in a car too. I know Overton last year it rolled the roof and the body around him, and he couldn't get out. That would be. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I'd be kicking something to get out.
Can understand that.
Yeah, I've talked to guys that got rolled on their tops and stuff. And yeah, it's
That's one
kind
thing
of
that
scary.
You bring that up, but that's one thing that I've mentioned to a few guys, especially after what happened in Florida. That that halo keeps getting smaller,
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah, that's actually one thing. When I took the cars over to Bruce, he said we're gonna fix a couple things on the halo because he knows how important that kind of
Yeah.
stuff is, and it's his name. And like I said, he's been really good to us, and we're happy to have him with us.
Absolutely.
Don't give it one shot.
Well, that's what keeps that roof from, and you can get out the other side if
Yeah,
you need to.
yeah,
Be like a fella I know, they drug him out the other side of the car and scratched him up and cut him up worse than he was. Hurt him worse than he was hurt.
Well, you've seen some of the guys was bringing that deflector deal on back,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know about that.
yeah. The series
That's a
back
safety.
home, they limited that to 4 inches, and to me that's plenty enough. I mean, now a lot of the Longhorn cars are. Heck, I think they're 12, 16 inches. They're wrapped around the driver, and I get it. It's to keep rocks off and stuff, but, I mean, I'd rather take a rock to the shoulder than be trapped in that race car. So,
Yeah, my fear would probably kick in. I would come through that roof. You know what I mean? Dude, you don't know what a man can do when the adrenaline gets pumping.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Turn into Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
flip it back over to number 7.
Yeah.
I'd reach out with my hand, push it back up.
He's ready today, ain't he?
I'm telling you.
Push it back up.
Well, guys, that's right here is where we're going to take you over to the product spotlight of this podcast. On today's product spotlight is going to be our Crown Vic noses. We offer them in black and white. Right now, all we're being able to do is pallet freight them, which is at a low cost of $165.99 to commercial addresses, and it can go up to $259.99 to residential addresses. So you can get these online today at ppmracingproducts.com, or to order yours and other parts, call us at 865-354-9669.
That's what we need to get.
What's that?
I mean, you need to get a Crown Vic. If we could get somebody to work on it, then we could show up, and I could just.
If I put a Crown Vic together, you drive it?
Hmm?
Hmm?
Randy Weaver said it was probably the most fun he'd had in a long time.
He's told me that too.
That's what he said. He said it's the most fun. And I can see it. It's just like, oh, it ain't so serious.
Yeah.
Can you imagine us have about 4 of them?
I didn't get a no.
If you can't never imagine it's on a golf cart.
Yeah, we can't go golfing.
No.
No. We end up
Golfing?
racing the golf course.
Okay.
And I end up hitting the guy in front of me, and he gets mad because he's a serious golfer.
They frown upon that.
Yeah, they frown upon that. I'm like moving him out of the lane,
As long as you don't punt him into the pond.
Then I went out on the fairway, and he says, "You can't be out there." I'm like, "Why?"
Nobody stopped me.
Yeah. But we raced everything growing up. Hot Wheels, bicycles. Then Dan got us a go-kart. We started riding it and jumping it. It's a wonder we're even here, man. We would take wagons and ride them down hills, turn the handle backwards.
Ride that wagon. It's
Red
sitting
wagon?
It's sitting up on the sidewalk right now.
A red wagon. I look at it
Mama,
now and
you
I'm
ready?
like, gosh, that's how we steered it. And most time it would flip. He's looking at me like,
Would you race snowmobiles and sleds? And
Well, that wasn't going down the hill wasn't fast enough, so we were dumb enough to hook it behind the snowmobile. And
see?
I don't know if you probably don't have them down here. GT snow racers, they're kind of something you kneel on, and you got one little ski, and you just ride behind it. But yeah, you tow that behind the snowmobile, and yeah.
that would be the only reason to see. I'm not a big snow fan. That would be the only reason to have snow, to have jet skis.
Yeah.
That's the only really good
Snowmobiles.
reason. Huh?
Snowmobile.
The snowmobile jet ski. Well, when I got on it, it'd melt. It'd be a jet ski.
Well, typically when you fall off, the snow is supposed to be softer, but eventually it packs harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
Then you go faster and faster and faster.
I've watched those guys race them,
Oh yeah.
and it's like, wow, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they get going pretty good.
Yeah. See, that's just normal thing.
One of my crew guys used to race. He did oval racing, and we went all over the U.S. and Canada racing them, and that was cool for a while.
These tracks up north, when it freezes over, they race snowmobiles around them.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the lakes and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
We actually ended up, if you look it up in Detroit Lakes, we sunk our rig. The ice broke and all the rigs fell through. That was a big deal.
So I bet you've got to think, talking about snow, you've got to think it's hilarious when it snows here. The way
Yeah.
people react.
Oh, man.
You're like, really, people?
Yeah. The other day it was supposed to snow, and I think they shut the schools down for a week.
Yeah.
And it didn't even snow yet.
Well, see, when I went to school back then, we didn't get out of school like that, but now the wind blows hard and they're out.
Yeah.
And it comes just a little skiff of snow, and they're scared to drive and everything, and you're like,
But I will say one thing: you guys run your tires down to the cords, where we don't do that in Canada.
I can see
The
that.
guy's delivering the mail. I'm like, dude, you need some new tires. Ah, it's not mine. I just drive it. It's like, yeah,
Still got a little
but-
We ain't to the cord yet. We're still good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Ricky, so tell us,
Yeah, all you need.
okay. Mr. W,
He's going to act like I didn't say nothing.
so Mr. Ricky, tell us who all do you want to thank for back then, now, like all of it.
G-Man from G-Style Transport's been really good the last few years to us, and I owe a lot of my racing this last few years to him, and he's been a real big supporter.
What is that? Is that a trucking?
Yep.
Trucking company.
Yep. He's from Williston, North Dakota. So he's been really good. He races too, and he knows what it's all about. And yeah, just a great, genuine
I'd
dude.
seen that on your car, and I figured it was a trucking company.
Yeah, good dude. And obviously my mom and dad, Derek Sandblasting, K8 and Truck Service, Sniper Chassis. My brother, RDW Recycling. He's been on our car for quite a few years. Wiesner Mining, Penske Shocks, Straight Ahead Ventures, Borderland Hay and Straw, LG Transport, Vic Hill, Vic and Chris have really been helping a lot. Alden Auto, Go Lithium Batteries, Dirt Car Lift, Arizona Sports Shirts, FK Rod Ends, Wells Drive Shafts, Winters Rend, and I know I'm forgetting a couple, but just everybody that's been so supportive the last few years. Couldn't do any of this without them. So.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a group effort.
It's definitely.
So, guys, Mr. Ricky, thank you very much again for coming to this podcast with us.
I had to resist on that one.
Thank you very much for coming down here and doing this podcast with us. We appreciate you very much. Your name has been mentioned a couple of times when people asked or told us that they would like you to come on here to be on our podcast. So thank you for coming and doing that.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me, and anytime. I mean, we're not far. We come up here for parts, and you guys treated us real well. So if anything we can do to help you guys,
So
Absolutely.
when you win the world, bring your trophy and we'll do another one.
that'll sound good.
And for all y'all watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody who comes in here at PPM or calls us and tells us how much you love the podcast, how much you listen to it. We appreciate everybody giving their feedback on it and telling us who they want on there, especially with y'all mentioning Ricky. We was very happy to have him on here. So thank you all, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate y'all very, very much.
Yes.
If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Comment down below who else you'd like to see. For all your racing parts needs, go to ppmracingproducts.com, or you can call us and order parts over the phone at 865-354-9669. And if you want to get with Mr. Ricky here on some Sniper chassis, you go to his website that he mentioned earlier in the podcast, or look him up on Facebook, and he can get you set up. Other than that, guys, support your local
What
restaurant.
was that website?
WiseRacing7.com.
Yes.
There you go.
Remember the 7?
Yeah.
So thank y'all for watching. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Hey, subscribe, like.
Hit that button.
Come on, get it up on the well. Go in there. You just smell poop or see Jesus. Let's get it on.